And good evening, everybody. This is This Week in Prophecy. I'm your host, Sherman Ray, and I want to welcome you all to the broadcast today. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's been just a up and down week. I got to tell you, it's been probably been more up than it has been down, but I'm so excited to have you here. Encourage you folks, if you're just watching us for the first time, that if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Yes, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to hear back from you. Also, if you've got a comment you'd like to leave, don't even hesitate. Just go ahead and leave a comment, and we'll definitely get back with you. Some people they really would rather just leave it on. They'd like to leave us an email. So go ahead and send us an email at thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. It's thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. Well, I'd like to we've got so much stuff to get onto. So we're gonna bring on Aaron Newton, our co-host on the show. Talk to little Aaron. How you doing? I shouldn't say little Aaron. I don't know why I said that. But Aaron Newton is here. Aaron, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good. Just going through the day.
Going through the day, huh? So how's your week been, man? I haven't talked to you. We talk on occasion, but haven't been keeping up with you, man. So how have things been going?
Yeah, fine. Everything's good. Just, living, praying, spending my time with God. That's about it. No big deals. Nothing big.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're excited about the show. We've got so many cool things going on, and I want to make sure we get to all of them. One of them is something we've got an election coming up. We've got so many things that are going on in the natural and the supernatural, and generally what we do is we generally leave the any kind of visions that Aaron has to the end. But one of the things but you mentioned this. There was something you sent me last week, and if you don't mind, let's start off the show with that. Okay, it's
okay.
Okay,
I'm going to give you the one.
Yeah.
So we'll just say it was a dream. I can't remember the date. I can't find it on my thing, but I remember it. Mm-hmm. It was really vivid. It was a really vivid dream. So, I was standing and I was watching this woman's life, and she was going through her life. And it started off. She was a young girl, and she had like long blonde, really thin hair, I guess you could say stringy, not there's no body to it. It was just thin. And as I'm watching her, as she gets maybe a little bit older, maybe 10 or 11 or so, she starts getting hair growing out of her face. And then as she got a little bit older, it started to turn into like a beard, and it was blonde, just like her head. And as I'm watching, I noticed that she's going through her life, and it's like in fast forward, like you remember the old when you just fast forward, it's going super fast. Then it all of a sudden stopped, and my eye zoomed in on her face, and I was standing there, and I wasn't moving nothing. It was just weird. I zoomed in and I was looking at her face through a microscope, and I could see the hair growing out of the skin. It was like whatever it was he was telling me, this is really happening. And so she just went through her life. She never shaved it off or plucked it out. She just let it grow into a beard, and everybody saw she was a girl with a beard. And so as she got older, I could see that she was married, and she had a couple of children, and she still had this, blonde beard. And anyways, so I could see in her life, it went fast forward again, it slowed down, and she was having a party at her house. And I could see that she was really mean to her husband. She just treated him really bad, and she would make fun of him to the people at the party, and she was mean to her kids. And I just remember her walking around with this just arrogance about her. And so in the middle of the party, there was an earthquake, and the entire house collapsed on itself. And I saw it. It was just like rubble, and I saw it, and then I saw her climbing out from under the rubble. And as she's climbing up on the dirt, climbing out, she stood up, kind of dusted herself off and took off. And her family was still in there, her kids. She just took off. And I saw her again, and she was at a hotel room, and it was like one of those older looking motels where the bathrooms on one side and the toilets on the other, or the showers on one side and the toilets on the other, and the center has like that built-in desk or vanity, and there's a big mirror, and she was standing there staring at herself. And as she's just staring at herself, she's like just just looking at herself, and she goes like this and pulls the beard off, and it was fake the whole time. She pulled it off in one piece, and she opened the drawer, put it in there, and then
Wow.
peeled the other side off,
Okay.
put it in the drawer,
Yeah.
shut the drawer, and left. And what I saw was that she left and just pretended to have amnesia and started a new life somewhere else, left everything else behind.
Wow. That's so you had a bearded lady who, and all these things happen, and but at the end, she had been pretending the entire time, and
Yeah, it
she
was
acted
fake
as
the whole
though.
time.
So who is this bearded lady? So it was a female though. So it was a female. Who,
It was a female.
a female. So it was a female. Um, so some of you might, this might be the first time you're ever watching, a show about the prophetic, and so when you get a prophecy like this, and we don't claim to have a, the corner of the market on deciphering prophetic dreams or visions and everything else. But part of what you could do is you could just narrow it down to basic stuff. One, Aaron, I want to ask you, what do you get out of this? Because I know what I'm getting out of it. But I mean, it was your dream. Did the Lord give you some kind of insight on what you thought, who this person was, or what she might have represented?
Well, I think she did represent something. I think she did. I mean, because in the dream, like my eye had zoomed in so close to it, and as far as I could tell, I was like, wow, that hair. I'm thinking in the dream, that hair is really grown out of her face. That's a woman with a beard. I remember
Yeah,
thinking.
sure.
Um, but I think it's a broader picture of a lot of things.
Okay.
I know one of the things you wanted to talk about was, or just, I mean, it could be people who say they're one thing, but they're really not.
Okay.
Let's look
Sure.
at like what's happening today with, we're going to talk about like the debate or whatever. Kamala Harris changed all her stances on fracking.
Sure.
She wanted to give free health care to immigrants. She wanted to have taxpayer funded sex changes
Yeah,
for these
sure.
illegal immigrants, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So, we look at something and we say, wow, that woman's a beard. But also, as the dream went on, I knew that she was really arrogant and really mean. And if you didn't, she treated her husband and her children really bad. And in front of the other people, she mocked them. And I could see that he was just like, why do you do this to me? But then,
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So the Lord's showing you that she could represent this particular person. I didn't ask you, was this person a black person or a white person, this woman?
No, it was a white lady with blonde hair.
A white lady with blonde hair.
Yeah.
So
Really,
but that's
just I remember it stuck out so much was that her hair was so thin. It wasn't like thin on her head, like she had a full head of hair, but there was no body to it. There was no. It was like if it just was like that. Really.
Yeah, but that stuck out to you though. That's something
That was
out there.
yeah. That to me was like I really needed to take notice of that.
Yes. Yeah. Because sometimes it's just things that you really take notice of, that really kind of stand out. Because we know it's a woman. We know she had, blonde hair. We know that she was mean to people. We do know she had a beard that was fake. So she was having a fake, maybe a fake persona or something like that. Or she was trying to deceive people, because she was wearing this beard around.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think she was deceiving people because as soon as all her life crumbled around her, she took it off. And then I'm starting a new life now. I'm going to walk away from being this man's bride and now start a new life.
Okay, yeah. Huh. She left her family and everything she had, and when she got to a hotel, I'm reading the text that you sent me because Aaron on occasion Aaron sends me these texts, and I keep them all, and so I'm reading it, and it says that she got to a hotel where she had felt safe when she was standing in front of the hotel mirror. She took the beard off. She got to a hotel and felt safe. That's when she.
Yeah.
That's when. Interesting.
I know that feeling of safe. Like I knew that she had to get away from everything and be somewhere where nobody could see what she was doing, and she did it. And then she took off, started a new life, and just pretended to have amnesia. Like
wow.
Like anybody asked her what her name was or what where she's from. I don't remember.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Wow. Well, once again, folks, I want to welcome all the folks who are watching us. You might be the first time you're watching the broadcast this week in prophecy. I'm Sherman, and this is Aaron, and we're talking about a prophetic dream that he had about a woman with a beard and a blonde-haired woman, and kind of going through some of what we thought who this person was, and who she might represent. And if let's say you've got some kind of insight into this, we'd really encourage you to leave a comment. Go ahead and leave it in the comment section just below us here. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you'd like to leave us a comment and just write to us at thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com, thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Aaron, I'm intrigued by this vision that you had, especially the timeliness of it too. Because you had this a little while ago. The date I have on this is September 23rd. Does that ring a bell to you?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It was last year, exactly September. When we talk
September
about
14th of 2023 is what it was.
Yes, 2023. So we're coming up on exactly a year. And I'll be honest, I think that could represent one person in my life, but I know that usually there's more of a broader scope of things that happen. In the beginning, some of these dreams were like very specific to one place and person at a certain time. And when that came fulfilled, I remember like one where I was tithing to this place, and then he gave me a dream about I was giving money to this lady, and I was noticing she was spending on lots of other stuff and all these ugly decorations on the walls. And when that came to pass, it was just with people that I knew at a certain place at a certain time. And it was like, oh, okay, well, here it is. Yeah. But yeah, not a lot going on lately. So I think there's more, it has a more broader scope.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. How so? How so? What do you mean by that? Do you think it could be not just one person it's talking about, but it could be talking about several people that are doing this kind of thing? Or what do you think?
Kind of like, let's say it could be people, like we're seeing a lot of people get in trouble lately for things that they were doing. Yeah. And, I knew this woman was married, but she treated her husband very badly.
Yeah.
She mocked him. Even though she made a commitment to him, she made a covenant with this man, she treated him very badly, just disrespected him, and all the things that she knew she was supposed to do. You know what I mean? And so, I don't really know, but I know somebody out there has another piece to that puzzle.
Oh yeah, sure they do.
I do know that. So.
Yeah. So, well, and you never know. I mean, prophetic dreams are that way. They might mean specifically something to you because you're, the guy. But like I said, the Lord's saying to somebody else, he goes, no, that applies in my life too. I understand that. I get it. And that applies exactly with something that's going on in my life.
Well, and I think that's a real big part of it. I mean, I can see that in my life. Yes, this is happening. And this person, just say some person is almost in that path that I'm seeing, but it's also for many other people because, it's for edification, but, it's not just me, and I know that he wants me to start, we've been doing this. I know he's been wanting me to speak these things, he's been really putting it on me to like, look, now that now that you're putting them together and you're seeing the pieces, I need you to speak them. I need you to say what I told you,
Yeah.
to what I've shown you. And when we talk about these, when we move on here in a minute, I have a vision that I had. It was a while ago, and I don't think I sent it to you, but it had to do with the Oval Office and the president, and like, it was really detailed.
Sure.
But it was a vision. It wasn't a dream.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, let me say something real quick, and then if you don't mind sharing that right now, I'd love to hear it.
So I might have told you this. I didn't send it to you, but I was standing in this like,
now,
it almost looked.
This was a vision.
This was a vision, okay. And it was like, yeah, an open vision, and it wasn't like, it was like that, And I thought to myself, I wasn't sleeping, but I saw it clear as day. So I was standing in this marble room, and it had pillars, and they were 10 feet tall, but there was no ceiling. And as I'm standing there, and I saw this picture frame, and it was like 20 feet long, and the frame was so detailed, it looked like these marble waves. It was difficult to explain. We might have talked about it, but it was these marble waves, and in the center was a river of color, and there were like bars, like, I don't know how to explain it. They were just like bars like that long of different colors. I think we did talk about this. I'm sorry. We did, where the guy stuck his hand in and he stopped it. And I saw the inside of the Oval Office.
Did you see? No. I don't know if you did.
So,
if you did, go ahead.
Okay.
So
there was these three men. These three men were standing next to this thing, and there was one on one side, two on one side, and one on the other side. And they all had like what looked like clipboards or tablets or stone tablets or something. And one was standing there with a tablet, and he was looking at the other guy, and they were wearing linen robes. And he had his tablet, and he's like, the guy stuck his arm into the river. And as soon as he did, it stopped. And I saw a picture. I saw the Oval Office. I saw Joe Biden, and they were frozen. It was like they were frozen in time. There was Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and another man. And the other man reminded me of the man from the dream with the hotel, the guy who is looked like he lost a lot of weight, but he was wearing clothes that were too baggy for him. And so he stuck his hand in there and he did something. And then when he pulled his arm out, it was like, do you ever see trail? I don't know how to explain it, where like one person, another, and it was like that, like expanding out.
Uh-huh.
And then the guy went, and he spun it again, and then it started flowing. And I knew that this was God's glory. Like, this is when people talk of the weighty glory, this is exactly what they're talking about. It falls on you, and it's so heavy, and it flows over you. But that was what I saw. It was like they knew, this was way in the future. They were seeing way in the future, and they were making sure that this path went the way God wanted it to go.
Okay.
And so, because, oh my goodness, it was just like, this man, here's the president, here's the vice president, and this man telling them what to do. And so when they, when they stuck their arm in there, they pushed it to the certain way that God wanted it to go.
Okay.
And then once those people were turned this way, he spun it again, and it was amazing, Sherman.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing about it, and this may be totally different, but we are seeing right now, because Joe Biden, and this isn't a political show, it's just really kind of an observation on what's going on in the culture. But there's been speculation that Joe Biden has been out of it for many, many months, if not a year, cognitively. He just doesn't know what he's doing. And then the people are saying, well, who's running the show? So who is running the show? And because right now, once again, the president is on vacation most of the time. So who is actually running and who's developing policy? And about a month ago, 2 months ago, Kamala Harris was nothing more than dead weight. I mean, they were saying, hey, get rid of Kamala Harris. But now she's like the second coming of Jesus. And it makes you wonder, who is actually running the show? If these people can say, okay, Joe Biden, you're gone, is there somebody behind the scenes that is saying, hey, I am actually, or we are actually the government. We are calling the shots. And these people are just pawns that we can move in and out anytime we want. So I'd like to get your perspective on that. What do you think about that?
I I believe that. I've seen it in dreams. I think I told you about the one where the guy was telling him, you write this in an executive order. He was asking people what they wanted. What do you want? What do you want? Okay, write that down. Make that an executive order. I 100% believe that. And I've seen that man twice. One was a vision, one was a dream. But I knew that something about the hotel room, that man was smuggling in what they needed, like what the Secret Service needed. And then this vision, he was standing in the office next to them, and I could just, it wasn't like he was there listening to them. It was like, I feel like he was there. All right, here's what's happening.
Here's what's happening.
He's going away. We're putting you on the pedestal.
Wow.
And this is what it is. There's nothing you're going to do about it.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard about this, and we'll get back to prophecy here in just a second, but many years ago, Jimmy Carter, this was back in the 70s, Jimmy Carter became president, and Billy Graham was the kind of a spiritual guide for him at that time, or Billy Graham, who had prayed for many presidents, came into his office, and he saw Jimmy Carter crying. And he said to me, he says, so President, why are you crying? You just won the presidency. And he said something, and I'll never forget this, because I don't know how true the story is, but I heard this many, many years ago, that Jimmy Carter said, well, I'm crying because my board, my cabinet has already been picked for me. All of these ambassadors that I'm thinking I want to pick and all these things, it's all been picked for me, and I'm just kind of a figurehead. And I'm wondering how true that is, or how real to how close to reality that actually is in American politics.
I would say this, because he was a Democrat, was he not?
Yes, he was.
So look at what happened when when President Trump came in. Oh, they mocked him about how he treated his staff. He didn't want that person. He's a CEO of a big worldwide corporation. I don't want this guy. And so, you can't tell him he has to leave. I heard so many. They tried to put that on him, exactly the same. And he's like, no, I'm gonna have my daughter and my son-in-law. We'll have them. And, I heard it, because they want to put their people in. They have the vision, right? They have what's supposed to be the way it's supposed to go. And, had he been a stronger, when I think of that, man, I do think that had he been a stronger person, he wouldn't have let them do that to him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're the president of the United States. Now you're not a dictator over the people, but you definitely control who works for you.
Sure. Well, you should, in theory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he should be able to, and maybe, and that kind of dovetails into what's coming up next, Aaron. And I hope a lot of folks are checking this out. That we're going to, what's coming up next is we're having a presidential debate. So the presidential debate is going to be happening in probably about another hour, and so I'm very excited about that. That we're supposed to have. So I'm putting up a graphic now of this presidential debate. It'll be Donald Trump against Kamala Harris, and as we were talking about before, just about about a week ago, this would never happen, because Kamala Harris was going to be she was not going to be even on the ticket. So this is going to be a very interesting thing that we're going to see. So Aaron, I'd love to get your take on this. What do you think is going to actually come of this? Do you think it's going to be a spirited debate? Is there something the Lord has been speaking to you about this particular debate?
Well, I don't know. I feel almost not really. He hasn't really been speaking to me about it.
Uh-huh.
But what I would give is my own feelings is that
Sure.
uh, I don't. I feel like she's not very smart,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe witty, or put in the spot in a tight spot. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know what to do, and we've seen this pattern over and over and over again where she, word salad. I hear that a lot from her. Word salad. This is just a word salad. She's making up things in her mind to sound intelligent, but then it just sounds ridiculous. And I feel like we're gonna see that.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard anything from him about like a debate or nothing.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that, but in my mind, I feel like I already know what's gonna happen.
Yep. And so the Lord has been basically showing you. I mean, it's just a feeling, anyways. And once again,
it's just me.
a kind of a feeling that, hey, guess what? Things are just kind of. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. And I don't know if you actually have to be, have any level of spirituality to start going, something is just not right here. But we are. So I've been reading some. Oh gosh, I have it right here right now. Now this book is a Jonathan Cahn book. Have you read this book before?
The Harbinger? No.
So The Harbinger.
That's a new one, right?
No, this was actually his first book that he wrote, I believe.
Oh no.
Okay, and this
I
one
only
was
read
written.
Return of the Gods.
Yeah, I think this book was 2011 was when this book was written. So it's been around a while. But one of the things it talks about, and I think keeps getting in the back of my mind, and I know we just have a few minutes because I know you've got to run. But one of the things that has happened in America that we don't continue to look back on, and maybe it's something we can talk about on the next show, is about whether or not America is seeing the warning signs from its prophetic community. And because 9/11, so this story is basically about 9/11, about a lot about that instead of seeing the signs as a prophetic sign that 9/11 happened and that we've lost our spiritual way in the country, we didn't do that. What we did is we said, nope, we're just going to build it back better, right? We're going to build it back better, and we are not going to repent for our evil. We're not going to see the warning signs. We're just going to insulate ourselves so we don't feel it as bad next time. We're not going to change. And the Lord says, well, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to do it again until you get the message. Because that's what happened with Israel in the Old Testament. So I'm wondering, has the Lord been speaking to you about warning signs to deliver to our leadership? And so I'll just leave it there.
Yes. And I won't even say, I think a lot of those people that are in place right now know exactly what they're doing. It's not like, hey, watch out for this because America's going one way. I really believe they know exactly what they're doing. So we were talking, just real quick here before I go. I had you sent me an article about a lady who walked into a church in England.
Yeah.
And she was yelling at the people, that she was going to kill the Christian God, right? Yeah. So do you remember the dream where that man was standing in the oil and he was up to his knees and he was building the car and it was just in pieces and he was putting it together to use it and like half of the front end was gone. So I think these are signs that people should really, truly take notice. That woman doing that. Now, a couple of days ago, they caught a Muslim man, who wanted to do it said specifically, and this was a word from somebody else a long time ago about another 9/11 attack, where he was wanted to go to oh my goodness, I can't remember the name. It was a temple in New York and do like mass shootings on Jews, specifically just Jews.
Yeah.
And same thing, just exactly like that lady, Allah. When I was in the army, and they would tell you, if you hear that, like that's, pay attention. When you hear people start saying Allah Akbar, that means that, just keep your eyes open, right? So he did the same thing, but he was caught before. Yeah. He was going to do it on October 7th, actually. He was planning on doing it on October 7th.
On October 7th.
But he got caught here a couple days ago. Yeah, the same day as the attack on Israel.
Yeah. So it's funny how those days coincide, right? There's a pattern, and there's and I think we need to continue to look at those things, keeping an eye on the dates and how those dates correspond with things that have happened. You know, when was the first warning of that? And now what are we seeing it happen now? Because those are not just coincidental dates that those things happen, right?
Well, they're not. It's it is the I can't remember the Jewish holiday. Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of Rosh. That's the first day of one of the Jewish feasts.
Yeah, sure.
And the last time that the 6-Day War, it was 50 years ago, on October 7th, they attacked Israel.
Yep.
And then 50 years later, they did it again. And then this guy was doing it. It's not any coincidence.
It's not.
It is on the Jewish holiday.
Yeah. Wow.
On purpose.
Okay. So let's.
Anyways.
So next week, because I know you got to go, and I thank you for hanging out. But Aaron, next show, let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk about those dates too, because when you mentioned that, it hit something in me. I think that there is something that needs to be explored in that a little bit more. So can I count on you for the next show to do that?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Fantastic. All right, Aaron, thank you once again, brother, for being a part of the broadcast, and we will see you again. Thank you once again, and we will see you next time, okay?
All right, buddy.
All right, brother. We'll talk later. And folks, I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast today. And once again, the prophecy is just an amazing thing. And as we continue on with this broadcast, and we continue to get a little deeper and getting, I think, more used to hearing about the signs and putting pieces together and looking at the details, because there's actually a lot of details that we're missing here, that things start making a little bit more sense. So once again, if you have any comments you'd like to leave on the show, definitely leave those in the comment section below. If you'd like to write to us, definitely write to us at thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. That's thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. We'd love to get back with you. Once again, folks, you can actually get this show on our YouTube channel, or you can get it on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, and you can take it with you. Just take it with you any place you go. So this has been Sherman Ray for This Week in Prophecy. I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast. We will see you again next week for another show. And we love you, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.